Good question. Watch this podcast. So that's the reason, right?
Is it?
And it's not a lie. It's not a lie. I truly believe the biggest fear, if I don't take it, it can actually happen. So the first step is to identify it. What action I'm scared to take off, however small it is, which means there's a certain fear there.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to Our Podcast. So this podcast is going to help you explore the journey of overcoming fear. This is Coach Kuan, our swimming master coach. So he's big inspiration to me and a guidance to me throughout my coaching journey. He's been coaching thousands of students in various types of students, including water phobia, special needs, and even the one that have very deep fear in water. So let's move to him.
Yes, Sarah, thanks for inviting me. I guess it's the very first video you have, and then thanks for really choosing me to be the first one. It's really an honor.
Coach Kuan, can you share a bit about your background and how you become a swimming coach?
Right. So for me, it's being a swimming coach. It's kind of like it's a pure accident. I never thought of being a swimming coach myself. I just want to do things related to sports. That's it. That's just all I want. And eventually, for some reason, I stumbled upon my mom connected me with EJ, which is the founder of Swim in 12, the one we both are serving in currently. And I saw the post. He posted something. I just said, okay, what else to lose? Because I've been working in an administrative jobs, training provider company. It was very terrible. I don't like the experience, so I just take the leap of faith to send EJ a message, and yeah, that's who I am. So from the love of sports, interest of sports, eventually grew to a love of applications, and helped change me, not just my students, but most importantly, me myself as a person, to who I am today, is someone that I'm really proud of. And I guess along the way, it's exactly like Shao describes. There's a lot of fears going on, and I overcome it one after another. And there's still more. I'm still going through a lot more, bigger fears. And well, that's it. I think the best part is it never ends. And to know that it's actually a good thing, because that's what we humans are, to continue to strive forwards. Yes. So that's my introduction.
Understand? That's great. So if I'm not mistaken, EJ is a Swimming 12 founder, right?
Yes.
So because of him, you are here now, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you heard the word fear, what's in your mind?
To me, it's like fear is like a reaction to events. In most cases, are dangerous events, and it either prevents someone to do things or force someone to do a certain things. But I guess in the context of today, I think most of us in the current generations and society, when we face fear, most of actions are hiding away, escaping, not taking certain actions. I believe that's the context. That's the reason why we're having here.
Yes.
How to take actions despite of having fears. And yeah, so that's my interpretation of fear, to a certain reactions to a dangerous event, and which mostly prevents us from taking a certain action.
That's great. So certain action that prevent us to start a new thing, right? So when we talk about fear, right, everyone have a starting point where the fear is very overwhelming, right? Can you share a bit and take us back to the point that you have fear the moment you learn how to swim? The moment you learn how to swim, then what fear that came along?
Oh, honestly, it's mostly when related to sports. I rarely found myself in fear, but I can share another event where I experienced quite a huge amount of fears, which caused me to just break down on the sports, kind of like that. So it backs to when I was Form 1. I just starting to mingle around with people, and I was invited to a friend's house with multiple friends together. So I just go happily to reach there, and we watched some videos, play some games, fool around. I was quite happy. And then at a certain point, I was an introvert myself. I never really been to someone's friend's house, and then it's quite a distance away. And then at one point I was thinking, actually, how am I gonna go back? I didn't even plan about going back home. And I was just so worried. I broke it down. I was just thinking, what should I do? What should I do? And I tried to call, it failed, and it just broke down. I just cried. Rather than asking for help or anything, or what's next, what's that, there's no next thing. I just break down because that was
Lost, right?
looking back. Yeah, that was the best best solution I can give somehow. So after that, my friends helped me, but they also kind of gave me, it's not cool. At 13 years old, why a man like you just suddenly tear up when you can't even find a home? They was just so confused. It was just so uncool. I was so embarrassed, and eventually, my friends. I ended up earlier. Somehow able to have someone to fetch me back home. It was embarrassing. They still continued the hangout at the place, and then I came back just because I didn't plan about going back home, and then it suddenly the fear of being away from home, that was quite overwhelming. So that was the one fearful event that I faced. Yeah.
So actually, I experienced that before. So I'm lost. I go with my friends, and then suddenly, where to go? And then I suddenly lost. I cry.
Okay.
I cried, and then
Okay.
luckily, some neighbor around that area helped me and then bring back.
Right.
Actually, it's just one wall away.
Okay.
Because it's a wall.
I think because we are kids, then
because
you
that
can't
time we
realize.
were kids. I think around 5 years old or 6 years old.
Right.
So because around the wall, actually got door some more. So that I cried then. Luckily that time people helped me. Oh, interesting. And just now we talked about the fear and the fear that you experience. It's not in swimming, right? Because you are quite okay for sports.
Yeah, right. Indeed.
So now I want to ask you, any fear that you faced the moment you become a coach, and how did you deal with that as a coach?
As a coach, okay. So if you're talking about swimming, sports related, I think none at all. But in terms of coaching, I guess there are times that when I'm teaching special kids inclusions,
special
right
needs.
now there's special needs kids.
Okay, you.
That's the mostly is physical, sometimes physicals, most time mental, either autistic kids and all of this. Yes. So there's a certain fear of not doing good enough, not understanding them. Is it alright? They pay such a high amount of money, and then I wasn't able to really produce a certain result. Then that was a big fear. Then eventually I learned to overcome it and still teach, get things done, go down to their level, and teach, assess their level, and then teach based on what they can go next.
So that's how you deal with it. So how about because you got the pressure from the parents, right?
Oh yes, so
It's like
huge,
pressure from the
huge,
parents.
very huge. Yeah.
So you try to explain to them, right?
Correct.
Understand? I think it's not only you for this one. Because I'm going to ask you about the one common fear, which is the fear of failing.
Okay. Yeah.
Because facing failure can be a daunting.
Okay.
But it often leads to a most valued lesson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So can you tell us about any significant facing failure and how do you overcome the fear of failing again?
In our current society, most of the fear are not that obvious. Okay. It ain't something like in swimming, diving, we stand on the 10-meter platform.
Yes.
You look down, that's a fear, and you need to just jump down like that. That is very obvious. It prevents you from taking actions. And most people couldn't do it. But the fear that I face a lot more, it's more of a daily small stuff. Okay? And how to overcome, it's to aware that not all fears are the extreme to the point of jumping from 10 meters high, but to small little things that do not even dare to take actions, do not dare to take a certain responsibility, didn't even get the job done. To me, fear prevents action. So whatever actions that Kuan is scared to do, it means that there's something to look at it. So the first step is to me is to identify it. What action I'm scared to take off, however small it is, which means there's a certain fear there.
Yes.
Okay. And after that, identify and to be aware. To be aware, and after that, plan it out. And what is the action that I can take to do it?
So the failing, right? Yeah. So the fear of failing.
Yeah, because it's failing. The fear of sometimes small things. Sometimes we want to be a perfectionist. So that's why it's if you don't do it well, then sometimes you get judged. So I guess that's where the fear of failure comes in. Sorry, yeah. So and a lot of times I told myself it's actually people doesn't really care. I mean people does judge you. I'm not gonna lie. This is every failure you do, people will judge you.
So if you wait in few minutes, even after that, gone already.
And
Nobody
gone it. It's really gone it. And sometimes it is really about to know that that's important. Sometimes we need to switch our mindset. As long as we're not taking certain actions, and what is the mindset, what thing prevents us a certain fear, we're gonna flip it and then to help us to take a certain actions. So one of the things that I convince myself is even if they judge, it's just gonna last for 1 day or 2 days. Even eventually it's more than that, maybe they'll laugh at me years after. But then again, the fear of not living the best version of myself, it's frightening. Okay. And
So
I want
that's
to
a bigger fear.
that's a bigger fear. Sometimes we need to create whatever fears that happens right now. It's indeed true to be judged. That's ingrained in we as a person. So the only way to overcome, there are many ways to overcome. One technique I use is to create a bigger fear. The fear that if I don't take these actions, I will not live the best life I have. I will not achieve this, and that's what prompts me to take certain actions. And it's not a lie. It's not a lie. I truly believe the biggest fear. If I don't take it, it can actually happen. So then eventually I took the mini steps, the step necessary to take the action.
Wonderful. That's a complete change, right?
Love it.
So you create a bigger fear, which can lead you to the positive side, positive path.
Positive.
Yeah. So that can overcome the current fear that you have.
Yes.
Especially for now, it's overcome the fear of failing, right?
The failing which is not taking actions.
Yes. Now we're going back to as a coach, right? So as a coach, you play a pivotal role in helping them, especially in swimming, to conquer their fear. What technique do you use to help them overcome the fear and to instill this confidence in them?
Right. Thanks. This is something that we literally face because swimming 12, it's about swimming 12 hours. We are we proud of ourselves as a water phobic specialist. There is a very specific method that I personally use. Many coaches have a different approach, but I believe there's a lot of similarities in here. So this is my approach. First, I always like to have them to be aware. Okay. But let's talk about just the most simple stuff. To float, to just float in the water and then stand. Some of us take it for granted. Yes, I think for most of us, we are sports person, we take it for granted. But a lot of students that came to us because they just couldn't achieve it anywhere else. That's why they came to us. And the fear, it's true, it's really real to them to just float out. Okay, so I just help them to be aware, float, let them aware of such things. Sometimes they just don't even know that why they don't want to take a certain actions. Just want to get it that you're afraid of something, and the body is trying to protect you because sometimes for them when it floats, it feels uncomfortable. We humans are meant to be, even when we sleep, we are on the ground. What we call is grounded. When we're walking, we are always sitting on that hard surface. When we float, for most people, it's like in a space like that, and that feeling can be very uncomfortable. So I just help you to let them to be aware. Second step is to set expectation and to tell them that the fear won't go away. It's not going to go away. Eventually, at one point, they're able to float and then stand up, which is the goal that we want. There will always be the fear there. There will always be that it won't go away. What's changed? It's what are the techniques that we use to take the action despite of having fears.
Control.
To control. Yes. To take actions despite of fear, even though you're having such a high fear, how you can still get ourselves to take action, and that is what most important. So I just set the expectation. Second, number third is to break down the task for them. Break it down so small chunks. Like the float, okay, it can be very daunting, so scary. So can we start with just hold some boards and then float and stand? Can we start with something that I stand really close to them to provide a safe environment? Can we start some things like to hold if hold the board is not enough, can we put another noodle right below so that they feel like they're grounded, secure, grounded. So that's the thing. And eventually do more until it becomes smooth. Maybe they can do it. How do you know it's a good time to move forward? It's when they can do 3 times perfectly without much hesitations, and then we move on to the next stage. But eventually, sometimes things doesn't go that smooth. It's not like you get it 3 times and then the next and the next.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Sometimes, let's say, eventually, try the real thing already. I do many breakdowns, try the real thing. Then they will like stuck there for like 1 minute or 2 minutes or even 3 minutes, just standing there, because the fear is really true. It's really there, and the reason it prevents is for hurting us. Okay, that is what the body identified. So I just affirm that the body is okay. I'm very sad. And normally, if a student, I have one rule. If a student couldn't take action in a minute, then I ask them to let's just go back to something easier. Take the easier steps. Repeat again. Maybe 3 times not enough. Let's do it 10. Let's do 20. Okay, and then we try again. Okay, so hesitations will actually make the fear stronger and prevent you from moving. Okay, so as long as we are moving, no matter how small it is, we are moving towards the goal. And basically, it's to repeat. Yeah. So number 1, to make aware. Number 2, to set expectations. Number 3, break it down so that you can take a certain actions. Number 4, if eventually you are stuck on the next stage or the next progressions, if there's no action within a minute, revert back. And then the whole process just continue again and again and again. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's so powerful.
Lovely.
So you use 4 things you repeat to all students, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even the waterphobia, especially in the special needs, though.
Yes, oh yeah, indeed. It's just that difference. That's good. Thanks for raising it up. It's whether it's a special needs. Everyone have a different fear of level of fears. So it's just a matter of understanding the students, whether it's special needs or really waterphobic, and then go to their level. Okay. For me, for my really both of us, when we learn something, we go level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, 5, 6, up. To then you might even need a level 1.1, level 1.2, sometimes even level 1.2a, level 1.2b. That kind of small breakdown from them to really move forward. Yeah. But it is, as long as it's a step forward, whether how small, how tiny it is a step. Eventually, it will slowly help us to reach the goal. Okay.
Slow progress is better than not doing.
Love it. Slow progress is better than no progress.
Yes, better than not trying to overcome it.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that's powerful sharing. And after all things that you did in coaching, especially on helping people, now I'm going to ask you about how you're going to help the teacher or the coach, the new coaches especially. So when they are starting to coach, even other than swimming field, so which means teaching football, teaching sports, and teaching educational things. So how would you instill the confidence in the new coaches, in the new teacher? Because you're starting, you're new, right? So in order to start, of course we got the fear. So how do you instill the confidence?
Good question. Watch this podcast. That's the reason, right?
Is it? So you explore the journey of fear.
Okay, so yeah, then of course definitely watch this podcast. Hopefully it's one of the reasons why I can help. And second, to me personally, it's to create, and it's not from me, it's mostly from EJ, our founder. It's to create a safe environment to know that this despite the failure, we are here to help you. Okay, it's like a scaffolding. Failure is not gonna. It's definitely gonna happen. It's something that unavoidable. As long as we try to grow, we try to move to the next stage, we try to be a better person, you will always feel uncomfortable. And there's always new fear, stronger fear, worse, terrible fear coming at you. But know that in Swim 12 here, that we provide a safe environment. We've been through tough one, and that's why we are here to assist you, the young junior coach, to help it. And that was lovely. That was just amazing things that DJ shared before. And I'm really proud that even like for this podcast that we can actually help to provide a safe space for people to try it out. I guess that's something, something really important. And techniques is one part. Sometimes I believe that we humans are social animals. The support from one another is very important. To not look down on one another when they're trying to overcome their fear, and to be more empathetic that whatever they're facing, it's personal to them. You cannot like judge like, wow, why you can't even do such a small things.
True.
It's like everyone is at a different stage of their life. Okay, and there's no need to judge them. It's about their stories to overcome it themselves. And hopefully we can be part of their stories to help them to do it together.
That's great. Wow, that's some fire tips right there. So, is having radio coaches. I hope it's hard to new coaches or new teachers there to overcome it and have confidence in yourself.
Indeed.
Yeah. So this one is a bit related because this question is going to be one of the most fear that we face. Which is fear of starting. Yeah. Starting something new is going to be intimidating a bit, and it could be starting a new sport, starting a new hobby, and even starting a new thing that you've never done before. For example, as for me, I never did a podcast. This is my first podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually to start a new thing for me, even interviewing is a bit intimidating, and then I have a lot of fears on it. But thanks to Coach Kuan, he
Fantastic.
encouraged me to continue to do that. So that now here we are.
Indeed. Then we should actually interview back.
Okay. Can.
This
So the fear of starting, right?
fear of starting, one of the big topic that everyone is going around is
What advice?
Yes, there's one advice that I had it many years ago. It's by James Clear, the author of the book Atomic Habits. It's this concept that is sticking to my mind from then until right now. Even before James Clear was created, even before creating the book, he also faced it, and this advice helps me. So the very first is to allow one of the biggest fear of starting is perfection. We want it to be perfect because people are judging us non-stop.
So almost the same as fear of failing.
Fear of failing. It's very, very, very similar. And that's why the advice is to allow ourselves to create rubbish. Okay? Despite the judgment. Okay? To take whatever actions necessary. That's why like an architect, they don't straight build a building.
Yes.
They have a plan, they have a blueprint, they have a draft, they have a really lousy one to show, eventually slowly create blueprints, and eventually the building turns out. So in the context of in the language of us, to create a draft is to allow ourselves to create rubbish.
Yes.
Okay? And that is one of the tracks that a lot of what we so-called perfectionists fall in. Okay? Now, it's not wrong to be a perfectionist, but to use perfectionist as an excuse for not taking action is very wrong. Okay? That's so wrong. So that's why many times I remind myself, allow ourselves to create rubbish. Okay? And from then on, then we can talk about things. Because one of the things that people say is like, I remember what my founders, the EJ, said is like, people are always see first lah, see lah.
But no action taken.
But no action taken. Okay? So that's why I can create some rubbish. I see first, oh, that's something, and then I slowly build the next and the next. Yeah. That's so powerful. This is just one big factor that helps me to create small action, eventually snowballing into bigger actions.
Snowball effect.
Snowball effect. Yeah. All starts with this one small step.
That's great. So actually, I'm interested. I will take the sentence that you use, that allow yourself to create rubbish.
Yes.
So I think that's the most important part that a lot of us miss out.
Yeah.
So actually, that's super powerful. And now let's talk about your discipline in daily routine. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
your daily routine. You have a discipline in that, right?
Yeah.
So little did I know that by maintaining your discipline, it could help you in overcoming your fear. Yeah, by being disciplined.
Yeah, it did. It does.
So mine to share with us that what habit and or daily routine that you use to help the journey on overcoming your any fear.
I guess in discipline, in the terms that I love on another person called Alex Omosi. It's just about, I think we all know the leader, right? It's about creating evidence of success and being disciplined, and then to do it on a daily basis is to create such an evidence of success. So for us to help, when you have so much success, it helps us to, it makes when we do some things that never did before, but we know that we did this many things, it makes things easier. And some of the disciplines that I did was, the things that I do, it's, one thing I try, it's to sleep in the car, I guess.
Sleep in the car.
There's many things, multiple things that's crossing over. I guess I just said to sleep in the car. It's been a year already. I think almost a year. Today is August. This time is August, and about last year, about September, almost a year I've been staying in the car, and that is a certain, and it can be very hard. First, it can be a bit uncomfortable. Second, it's lonely, and eventually you can't fit a lot of stuff in the car, so you're gonna throw away a lot of stuff. And it builds my character in a sense. And what I told myself is just continue the journey to disciplines, to stay in the car again and again. So what was uncomfortable at the very beginning somewhat becomes a certain joy, a certain pride that uniquely to me. And eventually with this success story, and I will be able to take more actions, more confidence, more actions to the things that I will eventually fear.
Yeah. So you literally sleep in the car because of that. So you create the simplicity things to help you be disciplined, right?
It was certain. The reason why I stayed in the car was certainly a part of a fear of not taking action. Because my goal is always I want to travel the world. I want to buy a caravan, stay in the car, and travel the world. That sounds like a big plan, and we are all dreamer thinkers. But if you don't take actions, it's just gonna stay there.
Still useless, no
Yeah.
point.
So I just told myself, okay, maybe caravan is a lot of money, and I don't have most of my works. I didn't bring it online. Okay, what can I actually do right now with the resource I have? I have a car. Can I try that? Okay, so let's do it. So I experiment. Still a car. Took out my back seat, this and that, and eventually, I got it. First month, I sleep one day, I rest. It was so uncomfortable. I need to stay in the house for another 2 days. One day, 2 days. Next month, I stay in the car for 2 days, sleep 1 day, and eventually on the third month, it's straight away in the car again. And then on until right now. Of course, there are certain days I stay with my friends, but that's not too long about it. And it let me know that my dream of traveling around the world in a caravan is not just a dream. That I have the capability to do it because I did it. I sleep in the car, which is harder, doesn't have a toilet, this and that. I know that eventually when the money arrives or some things, that I can afford the caravans. I know that I can take the action necessary to travel around the world. And it can be very daunting. It's quite scary. Travel around the world, you leave your comfort zone, your friends, the people, and it ain't just a week or two, it's like months or even years. And yeah, I think with me sitting in the car, I know that I've overcome a big amount of fears and I'm going to do it, and eventually it will influence me to the other parts of my life.
Understand. That's great. Right, and actually, I want to ask you, what if you mess up your daily routine? So, if you mess up, right? So I think you're unsafe once already. You're unsafe already. Just try to break it down. For example, just now, you try to sleep one day with the car, and then one day with house, and then 2 days with car, then 2 days with the house, if I'm not mistaken. And then you start to reducing sleep in the house, right?
Correct.
So it's to create a progress little by little.
Correct.
So man, that's a great tip. But actually, it's not everyone can do it. Yeah, that's your choice and your ways in create a daily routine.
Now, I want to add on to that. It's breaking down is one part. Second is to constantly revise it. When it first started, the plan was sleep one day, so uncomfortable rest 2 days. Sometimes there actually comes in that month, I kind of skip until like 3 days, 4 days at certain times. The first week, second week, supposedly to rest 1 day. Sometimes I rest 2-3 days. But to tell ourselves it's alright that we are humans. We won't always be at our best.
Yes.
And but it's important. That's why I have a track, I have a book to record it. Eventually, if I don't make it, I look back to look at myself objectively. That can be a certain fear also. And to face ourselves objectively, when you write down journal, you got nowhere to run. The truth is there. You look back, how much thing you did or did not. It's pure facts, pure truth. And you face it, you tell ourselves, comfort ourselves sometimes, it's alright, let's try hard again tomorrow. Because we've got long years to live. Yeah. So sometimes there's a certain things I heard before. It's like what makes a great athlete and an average athlete. It's not that they don't fail. They don't feel like going for training. They do, but the rate that they get back into training, maybe it's like they feel so down. The greatest athlete, they fell so down. They just like, shit, I just want to go training for a day, and they really didn't. But then they remind themselves, get back up, do again. Whereas most of us, when we don't feel like it, sometimes it's a day becomes two become three, eventually 1 week, eventually just like the New Year resolution, it just moves on and never even finish it.
Yes. You procrastinate, right?
Yes, tell yourself it's alright to fail, get back up, try again.
Interesting. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
So, I said that's the word that you always use. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, as we go to wrap up, I could love to know, these my personal things.
Right.
What is your future goals and what fears do you think you will need to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
So it's by definitions, fear it's what causes us to unable to take a certain mostly my fear right now to not take a certain actions, which in my case is like to sit in front of a laptop to actually work. And it might looks like it's something ridiculous, like how hard can it be? But it is hard for me. It is truly very hard deep down, because I'm a certain hyperactive, I'm hands-on. To coach, no problem. I can do it well, do it many times.
Fast. Okay, I can coach.
Fast. But for me to sit in front of a laptop, to take action, to type, to create systems, to create programs for the next generation of coaches can be very hard. And many times I procrastinate, and I just fear that just like it's exactly the one I said, fear of being judged to be a perfectionist. So many times I remind myself, create rubbish. And still overcoming, it will not stop. It was once I finish a certain systems, the next fear comes in. I guess I'm taking actions. I am taking actions, but it's not at the rate I want it to be. It's not fast enough. And eventually I need to keep trying on this, keep trying creating rubbish, so that eventually one day I can sit in front of a laptop for hours and hours and keep on churning, get things done, and know that I have overcome one of my biggest fear, to work in front of a laptop.
Work in front of
Sit down, stay still, get things done, get create draft, lousy things done, but I things are done. Yeah. That's the first stage I want to be. Eventually, after that, only then try to create something more refined to aim for perfection. But for now, allow myself to be a failure.
So that is your goal.
That's my
Future goals. Allow yourself to be a failure.
allow myself to be a failure, but just take actions. Yeah. Despite
So that. Okay. I think thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking about that, any final word of encouragement for our listeners?
Yeah,
The journey of overcoming the fear.
it's yeah.
Encouragement.
So keep trying. I guess my intention was keep trying. So to know that the fear of not trying is way worse than failing right now. Whatever pains that we are feeling right now, it's incomparable to the futures that who we might become one day. As long as, like I shared previously, try to create a bigger fear. To not give in to the short-term fear that we have, to give out the big long future that we could actually achieve. And I wish you all well. And I hope that this journey, this podcast will shine out in the following, and with the subsequent speakers. Yes, wish you all the journeys.
We can try to do another episode.
You try it? Fantastic. Why not?
Yeah.
So that's it.
Is it? Alright. Thank you so much for being
Thanks,
part of the podcast.
For inviting me to be the very first. So
That's all.